hear them say it's love.
What is going on YouTube? How are you guys doing today? It has been a little while since my last upload, probably almost a month. I have not checked the date, so I have absolutely no idea, and the video is wobbling everywhere, and I'm going to apologize for that right now. I'm sorry. That said, this video is going to be one of the videos that I've been putting off because it's not the happy-go-lucky topic that it really should be. And that's kind of a sad thing, because this video is about following your dreams. Now, if you've seen any of the other videos on the YouTube channel, you know that I am on my way to Japan, which has been a lifelong dream of mine since I was actually very, very young. And that is actually a big deal for me because I'm 30 years old. I have started the application process. By the time I get to Japan, I will actually be 31 years old. And the process to get there has required me to sell literally everything that I own so that I can go to school. And I am totally okay with this. This has been a huge passion for me. It's really important to me. I'm honestly okay with selling everything that I own. That is my commitment to this particular dream, so I'm okay with this. A lot of people are not, and that's their thing, but that's also not the topic for this. The important thing is that your dreams are possible, your dreams are manageable, and a lot of people are running away from them, especially people in the millennial generation. Now, again, like I said, I'm 30 years old. I am one of the early millennials. I think the millennial generation started in 1984. I could be wrong on that. But I'm an early millennial, one of the very first few, and because of that, I kind of have a lot of the tendencies of the previous generation, which I believe was X, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't follow these things. They're silly. That said, I have a lot of tendencies from the previous generation, which is work, 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 work. I am definitely a workaholic, and several of my friends, the people that I have surrounded myself with, are also workaholics. We don't run away from it. We actually embrace it. We find it's a whole lot easier, which is part of the reason that I'm actually behind on making videos, because I have been doing everything I possibly can under the sun, and I have something to show for it, which is a good thing. Recently on Amazon, and I will be including links below, I have got my first book up for sale. But that's not all. I have the second book for sale. Both of these books are on sale on Amazon. I will include the links. They are the first two books in the Coreless book series, which there are 4 books in that series. All 4 books are done. It's a completed series. It is not something in which you're going to have to wait, a year, 2 years, 3 years between each book to get the next book. As a matter of fact, I'm only waiting on cover art right now. As soon as I get the cover art, book 3 will be released, and book 4, the cover art for that is super easy. That should go up almost exactly a week after that. I was hoping for a Tuesday release, except my graphic design artist is running behind. He shut his cell phone off for a week. He put it on airplane mode and just thought nobody wanted to talk to him for a week. Ethan, get it together, man. Anyways, I will be trying to get some contact information for Ethan, and he actually has a day job and a regular job, and graphic design is not something that he is even really looking to spread as a big thing that he wants to get into. But if he changes his mind, I will go ahead and include that. The cover art for the first 2 books, those are actually mine. I bought a portion of the second book cover from somebody else. I am not that good at graphic design, so when I found something that I really liked and wanted to incorporate it into the second book cover, I actually had to buy non-exclusive rights for it so that I could use it for the book cover, which is cool. I only spent $35 on that, which is awesome. I will try to get her contact information in the description for this video, but she was really generous and let me have that, which is awesome. But why this video is not so happy-go-lucky. I don't talk about my mother too much, but it has recently come up quite a bit in several different forums that is bothering some of my friends. Like, it's a different sector of my friends. I hate sounding like I'm segregating my friends or whatever, but the people that have been behind me and pushing me forward, making me ram my face into pursuing my dream, which sometimes I need, because I feel like if I'm pursuing my dream sometimes that I'm not doing work, which is a problem for me, and it's not the normal problems that people have with pursuing their dreams, but it's one of the things that I have, and I get into this almost depressive feeling that I'm not doing work and I should be doing work, and that is because I'm trying to pursue my dream, and so I'm not doing work because I'm trying to pursue my dream, and then that must be bad, and no. But anyways, those people that have been pushing me forward through that, those people are my personal association. They are the ones that I call my family and everything like that. Those people are doing good, but I have some other friends that I try to reach out to and I try to help and try to push and support them. And a lot of them are running into depression from not knowing what to do in life, and that is really because they're not pursuing any dreams, they're not pursuing any hobbies or anything like that. And one of the problems that I have seen in my generation is that we are being told that our dreams are too big for us to actually reach for. And we see everybody else accomplish dreams and we go, well, wow, they must have had some really awesome opportunity, blah, 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 and I wish that I could have had an opportunity like that. You know what? You make your own opportunities. You make your opportunities. You do. It is your responsibility to find something that you want to do. It is your dream. It is your desire. It is your goal. You push for it. And if you don't have a dream, a desire, or a goal, it means you don't have a hobby. If you don't have a hobby, you need to go and get one. If you don't have one and you don't know where to look for one, try new things. The number one thing that you can do is try new things. It does so many things for you. It will expand your horizons. It will make you learn new things, and all around it will make you a better person, a more open-minded person, which we definitely need. But the overall thing is you have to push for your dreams, and if you're not going to do that, they're not going to happen. I'm lucky to have some people that are standing behind me going, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? They're holding me accountable to my own pursuit, which is an awesome thing, because there have been several times in the past where it was like, I have this really big dream and I have no idea how to get there. And Nathan especially has been a huge hand. He, sat down with me and he's like, all right, so let's talk this out. What are the steps to get there? And it's very humbling and very awesome at the same time, because it's like, here's this big dream and I want to do this, but I don't know how. You know what? It's always a whole lot simpler than you think. For me, I always wanted to go to Japan, and about, I guess it's a little over 5 years ago now. It's not quite 6 years. It's about 5.5 years. But about 5.5 years ago, when I got my job back at Nissan, shortly after getting out of jail, I was getting my life together, and I wanted to put together a 5-year plan to get to Japan. And I had absolutely no freaking clue how to do that. And what I have found in my process is that there are a lot of really simple steps that I needed to focus on to get to those goals. And sometimes it took people sitting down with me and going, okay, well, let's hash this out. If you want to do this, what are the steps to do that? And it's just simple brainstorming. And it was me looking at a big, huge thing, like a big, huge puzzle, and going, oh my gosh, this is too big for me. I don't know what I'm doing. But then when I sat down with Nathan and we started ripping apart bits and pieces of it, things were not as big of an issue as I thought they were, which was an awesome thing, because finding the little components is definitely what helped me get to where I needed to be to actually resolve the problem and accomplish my dream, which is what I have done now. And my resolution to this was to sell everything, because one of the primary stoppers for me was the money thing, which is kind of a loop. I won't say that I topped out for what I could do right now. I probably could find something else that would have paid me just a little bit more, and it would have been all right. Maybe I could have worked my way up from there. But for not having a college degree, and even though I have a lot of skills in different areas, I don't have the documentation to show those things. So where I am at, resume-wise, education-wise, I'm almost topped out, or I was almost topped out with what I could make, and that was kind of stopping me from doing other things. I had an opportunity. I was going to try to get on at a different company and go into the IT sector again, and it just fell through. And ironically, it fell through. The company decided to hire 2 other people, and both of those people, one of them was terminated for absences, not being able to make it on time, make it to work on time, and the other person was undereducated for completing the tasks assigned to them, which was funny for me because I was actually overeducated for the position. But again, it's almost undocumented. I had most of the documentation for the skill sets that I was claiming to have, which is a good thing, but I didn't have all of the documentation. I don't have an MCSE certification. Why? Because I started learning intermediate and advanced Microsoft skills when I was in my sophomore year of high school. It might have been a little bit earlier than that. I don't know. I never thought about it at that time. If I had thought about it, I probably would have gone to my mother and said, hey, give me some money so I can go take this test and certification, which will help me out in the future. But I was young and stupid, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know that I could actually get a certification for that when I started learning these things. And by the time I found out about the MCSE certifications, I was already out on my own. I was already having a difficult enough time making ends meet, and the thought of paying $500 and $600 for certification tests, which is what they were at the time, was too much money for me to have to spend for that. So it's just an example of some of the things that I have the skills in Microsoft products to be able to service them or to troubleshoot those issues, which was essentially what the position was for. It was a tier 1 service desk position, and most of it, even they said this, most of it is, have you restarted your device? It's funny that the number one solution to most consumer problems is simply restarting a device, but it's so true, and sadly that is what it is. But that is not about dreams. Dreams are about the future. Japan. For me, it's Japan. But again, anyways, money was somewhat of an issue. I didn't really have too many opportunities to get a job that was going to pay too much more and be consistent. So I was kind of in a trap of, well, should I go back to school? Well, if I go back to school, I'm looking at another 4 years at least. possibly 5 to 6 years if I tried to keep up with full-time employment, and that would have me at 36 to 38 years old, and that's not really what I would like. I would like to settle down in Japan, and trying to settle down and start a family at 38 years old is not likely to happen. I might be able to find a wife at 38 years old, but I probably won't be able to have any children at that age. Or most likely my wife probably won't be able to have children at that age, and that would be kind of sad for me. Not to mention that even once I graduated school, I would still have to get a job and then save up the money to go to Japan then, which again just puts more time onto that prospect. So all in all, it was like, go to school to get a better education to get more money, waste a lot of money, I shouldn't say waste, spend a lot of money in that endeavor, and then still have to wait longer to get more money. Earlier this year, when I found out that there was a opportunity to go to college in Japan, to get a 4-year degree in Japan, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'd love to do that. That would be like accomplishing everything that I want. Spend time in Japan and get my college degree all at the same time. This would be amazing. And you know what? I'm not going to be able to start off at the college. Again, it's a money thing. What I can do, because here's my thing. I want to be able to focus on going to school. And the problem is, if I were to try to go to college in Japan with the amount of money that I got off of selling my house, it would really be pushing my budget a lot, because I'd have to pay a lot of I'd have to pay obviously a much higher tuition, which is about it's about $10,000 a year. It's actually, it's funny, it starts off more expensive for the first year and then gets less expensive as the 4 years go on. So at your 4th year, it's closer to only about $7,000 US. But again, that's running off of old numbers, so that information may have changed. But the point of the matter is that the amount of money that I have to spend on the upfront to go ahead and start college would burn through almost all of my budget, and that would put me in a very dangerous situation where I'd really have to focus on working a whole lot and finding a really solid job. The problem with that is I can only work 28 hours a week. If I could get a factory job in Japan and just crank out 50, 60 hours a week like I do here in the States, I'd be set. You would not hear me complain about anything. But while I'm on a student visa in Japan, the most that I can work every week is 28 hours. So that leaves me with my original directive, which was to go to the 2-year language school in Japan. It is a slightly different student visa. There is a short-term student visa, which is 2 years maximum in length, and then there is a long-term student visa, which is for an undergraduate program. And I have heard rumors of, I have not gotten any actual confirmation of this, but it should be possible for me to get an additional 3-year visa, or an additional 3-year student visa to get a graduate degree program in Japan. I am not entirely sure. That might be a second student visa on the 4-year program, which might bar me from actually doing that, or I would have to get a different visa so that I could go back and get a different visa so that I could go back and actually get a graduate degree. But a graduate degree is not super important. It would be awesome, but it's not super important, especially not for what my needs are. That would mostly be for an additional desire, I guess. But the point of this episode is that your dreams are attainable. There is nothing that's stopping you from accomplishing your dreams except you. If there is a roadblock in your way, you clear it out. And I am being very serious about this, and this is something that I've told people, and I get very negative results from talking to people about this and saying this because I am very, very, very serious about this. If there is a roadblock stopping you from achieving your dreams, remove it. I don't care what that roadblock is. And I've had to remove several very personal roadblocks. I don't talk about my mother. That is because she was one of the roadblocks that I've removed from my life. And that's a very negative thing, and a lot of people, without having all of the specifics behind the issues, immediately say, that is your mother, you should never do that, you should never get rid of your mother in your life, she loves you, blah, 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 you should always love your mother. The funny thing is I'm also Italian, and both sides of I'm half Cuban and half Italian, and both sides of my family are somewhat matriarchal in design, and that the females run the households. Now, my dad is somewhat of a renegade and does not follow by that. He is also the black sheep in his family, where almost everybody else in my dad's side of the family lives in Naples, Florida. My dad lives in Miami, Florida. So he is a bit of a renegade in that design. But going back to the side of my family, it's almost all matriarchal. The females run essentially the household. Males go and work, and everything else functions as it's supposed to. And that's totally cool. I don't mind that design. I don't have any issues with it, except that one of the problems that I was having in my life was that my mother was stopping me from really pursuing anything that I wanted. She kept telling me that I needed to get off of Fantasy Island. This is Fantasy Island. This is a novel. This is like, and these are not empty pages. There's no empty pages in this book. It's a full novel. Oh wait, here's a sequel. And there's 2 more books that haven't actually been released yet. They're longer than both of these. The 3rd and 4th book are longer than both of these books. And so this is Fantasy Island right here. This is Fantasy Island. And I need to stop living in Fantasy Island? You need to stop living in Fantasy Island? No. No, absolutely not. This is Fantasy Island. And you know what? It might not be a whole lot of money. I'm not a big name author or anything like that. But you know what? I wrote 4 novels. They're published now. 2 of the 4 are already out. Again, I'll include links in the description. They're not very expensive. Again, I'm not a very big name author. Why should my books be that expensive? But who cares? I mean, if you've got a roadblock, you need to remove it. Fantasy Island is not necessarily a bad thing. You can't live in Fantasy Island. I can't live and say, well, I'm not going to go to work anymore. I'm just going to sit around and write books. I didn't do that. I went to work every day. I was writing while I was working a 7-day-a-week job, and I was working 12 hours a day at that job, and that went on for almost 6 months. There was the occasional, hey, your press is broken, don't bother coming in tonight, and I wouldn't go in that night, and instead I went to my place to write. I took my tablet to a bar because I used to smoke. I now vape, but I used to smoke, and at a bar, it's very awesome because you can smoke inside. You can have food and drinks served to you. Well, it's more expensive that way, but everything comes to you. And I would put music in, and I would sit there. I think my longest writing session was literally 10 hours. I had a great time. That was fun for me. It was awesome. But there's nothing wrong with Fantasy Island. Living in Fantasy Island, where you sit there and say, well, I'm just going to go to the bar every day, and I'm going to write. That's not going to work out for you. There's nothing wrong with Fantasy Island, but reality has its place too. And there's a balance between pursuing your dreams and living in reality. And I have done that a little bit. I've focused a little bit more on reality than I think I needed to. I think I could have pursued my dreams a little bit harder than I did, and I probably would have gotten there a little bit faster. But I was overwhelmed, and I didn't bother to properly lay out a roadmap for myself. I tried to set a 5-year plan. I almost hit that, but then I ran into roadblocks as far as the finite procedures for getting to Japan. To get my student visa, I had to have X amount of money in the bank, and I have to be able to document that, obviously. I had to... my previous passport was going to expire before I wanted to return to the States, so I had to get a new passport. This just got back in, and I'm totally mugging in my passport photo too. I think it is awesome. I love my new passport photo, but there were a lot of finite steps. The money thing was the big one that got in my way. I had to document X amount of money in the bank account at one time, and I also have to have a financial backer, which in this case is really not that big of a deal. If I have to, what I will do is I will document all of the money in my bank account, and then I will pull all of that money out, put it into somebody else's account, and say they're my financial backer, and then pull all of the money right back out. That really doesn't bother me. If I have to take a couple extra steps, it's really not that big of a deal. I just checked today. The deadline for student visas for Tokyo schools is September 29th. So I have almost 2 months. I have a little over 2 months to actually finish getting all of my paperwork and stuff to the school and to immigrations, which actually shouldn't be that big of a deal. There's plenty of time. So that is a positive that's going on there. With the Japanese consulate here in Tennessee, it's actually in Nashville. I'm in Laverne right now. I'm kind of hoping that I can wrap up the paperwork a little bit faster, so I can just walk up to the consulate and get my visa, which a friend of mine was able to do. He got a work visa because unlike me, who didn't finish college, he actually did finish college, and he was able to get a work visa. He actually teaches English in Japanese schools, which is awesome. And it's so much easier for him to go to Japan than it is for me. He doesn't have to have nearly as much backing as I do. It doesn't cost him anywhere close to the amount of money that it cost me. And he gets paid. Meanwhile, I have to pay. So that kind of sucks as far as like he gets to live out there. He's getting paid to be out there. And from what I understand, he's got another 2 years left on his current contract, which he's loving. I think he's already been there for about 1.5 years this time. He was there for a year last time, and so I'm really excited about that. Wade is currently in Japan, and like I said, I think he's still got another 2 years left on his current employment contract, which is awesome. Because I'm thinking I will be there for at least a year. I'm hoping to stay there longer. I would like to transfer into a 4-year college, but right now I'm looking at least a year, and we will go from there. But my dreams are coming true, and the reason that they're coming true is because I'm cutting out the roadblocks. They're all gone now. There is nothing stopping me, barring a world collapse, or something extremely catastrophic happening, Japan getting wiped out, the United States getting wiped out. Barring things like that, I'm going to Japan. The money's in place. Everything else is ready to go. Now it's just handling the final paperwork, getting into the school, and getting the plane tickets, getting on the plane. All the roadblocks have been cut out. There's no more excuses for failure anymore. So it's very important that if you have a dream and you're trying to pursue it, just do it. There's nothing stopping you but you. I don't care what's going on in your life, you can overcome it. All you have to do is try. You just try. If something's in your way, figure out how to get around it. Figure out how to get over it. Figure out how to remove it. If something's causing you to stop, you need to figure out how to go around it. And so many people, especially in my generation, they hit a roadblock and they go, well, I'm out. Dang it, I guess I can't do it. They don't bother to pursue things to get around the issues that they're having. I haven't seen too many people that are like, well, this is in my way. Guess I'll have to figure out a way to break through it or something like that. That's not something that's very common in this generation. Most people say, oh, I want that car over there. That car is really expensive. Guess I can't have it. And then they walk away. Why? You want that car, figure out how to go get it. Really not that difficult. If you have to get another job, cool. If you have to finance it and you can work through the financing, do it. If you have to find one that's broken and then go and fix it up, do that. I mean, there's a ton of different ways. I don't know them personally, but I know that there are several people who have wanted a specific car and they approached a company about using that car to advertise for a company. And the company paid them just to drive around their car. Well, they went to their everyday job, they worked their everyday life, and went through the motions of everyday things, but the company who's got their logo on that person's car is paying the car note. Really plain and simple. Somebody wanted a $100,000 car. They had a $700 a month or a $900 a month car note. They approached some big name company and they got that big name company to sponsor the car. Now they might not pay all of the car note, but if they pay the majority of the car note or enough of the car note that what's left isn't that big of a deal for you, then you're happy. You get the car. That actually happens. There's ways to do that. That's a legitimate business thing that actually does happen. If you want a really expensive car, find a way to go and get it. Don't sit there and say, oh, that car's $200,000. It's too expensive for me. There's ways to get that car. You're going to have to be clever. You're going to have to be creative and make that happen. That's really ridiculous. $200,000 cars. Lamborghinis and Ferraris. There you go. I'm not even that interested in them. People have asked me, what would you do if you got a Lamborghini? I'd sell it. Are you kidding me? I would sell it. There's Parker from Vehicle Virgins going, I'm keeping that, but no, your dreams are obtainable. You have to reach for them. If you don't have a dream, the awesome thing about that is you are an empty slate and there could be so many things out there for you. All you have to do is go and try them. If you don't have a dream, that's awesome. That's really easy because all you're going to have to do is go out and find something. Go out and try new things. There are tons of things. There are tons of hobbies. There are tons of opportunities for you to go and pursue a million different things. And unless you go and pursue something like that, you're never going to be happy. You never will be. I have a friend who talks to me all the time. They're depressed. All the time they're depressed. They don't feel happy. They got a college degree. Their college degree isn't doing it for them. They can't find a job with their college degree. Now they've got all of this student loans and they can't pay back the loans very well. The job they have doesn't pay them a whole lot. They're having to live at home. They're not happy with their life, but they're also not pursuing any dreams. They have no hobbies. And that's a really big deal. And I keep telling them over and over and over again, you need a hobby. You need to go and find something that you enjoy doing. And you will find something along the way that makes you happy with life. It will make your life go together. If you don't have anything to reach for, to enjoy, you're never going to be happy. And you're going to have to figure that out. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys out. You are not alone in the universe. You guys are not the only people that feel like you can't accomplish a dream. I'm going to Japan. I'm step by step. I'm getting my way there. I wrote 4 books. Like these things, I didn't even want to write. I remember being in high school and getting so pissed off every time we had to do assigned writings, and I hated them. I always hated them. But then I sat down one day and I said, I'm going to write a book. And I'm ADD, so when I say, oh, I'm going to do this, I might start it, but there's a lot of times that I've started things and then went, yeah, I'm done. So when I said, oh, I'm going to write a book, I didn't know how far I was going to get into that. And I will be honest with you, when I told myself, oh, I want to try writing a book, I didn't expect to get more than like 5, 6 chapters. And instead, I got through 4 novels. So I don't know how that happened, but it did happen. It is what it is. And I'm rolling forward on that. I'm happy to see my books published. That's awesome for me. I think it's fantastic. But if you want to do something, go and do it. If you don't know what to do, try a whole bunch of new things. And once you find something that you like, pursue it. If something gets in your way, knock it over. Get rid of it. Get around it. Do whatever you have to do. Find something you enjoy doing and do it. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Because the only way you can't is if you decide you don't want to. Anyways, I hope you guys have a nice time. Big Scary Guy signing off or whatever. I will see you guys hopefully soon. I don't want there to be a big long delay between this video and my next one, and hopefully there won't be. I've only got 3 weeks left in Tennessee, so I'm working my way up, working my way closer to Japan, and I am very, very excited about that.
Please don't